What's going on, everybody? It's Lloyd Knows. So you know what's going on in the world with like the C word. I'm not trying to say it because it'll demonetize the video, but even though I don't have everything set to actually make money on it, I'm looking in the future, and I wish rappers had that same foresight also. So since rappers and artists can't really perform right now in venues because it's pretty much finito at this point, it's gonna be really tough for them to actually make money. But on the contrary, the labels that they're signed to, they're still eating off of them during this time. And the rappers right now are like twiddling their thumbs on some Oliver Twist shit, hoping the record labels are gonna break them some bread with their streaming numbers, and that's not gonna happen with them, so they're fucked at this point. I swear these labels must have read Iceberg Slim's book called Pimp, because they got into the psyche of these rappers, making it seem like the rappers need them when they don't, and now they're giving pretty much all their money over to the label. So in this video, I'm gonna detail signed rappers with contracts with the record labels and how they can actually learn from their Latin counterparts how to conduct business. Because I was on Spotify getting my Spanish on, listening to some Ozuna and some Bad Bunny, and I noticed under their album artwork, they had a different record label usually, and then if it's a different record label, it would say like distributed by like Sony. So that had me get on my Inspector Gadget investigating, and I noticed that these Latin artists are conducting better business and they're getting a way better deal, and most importantly, they're keeping their ownership compared to these American rappers that are just signing away everything for a quick bag and not looking foresight ahead of all the money they can actually be making off of their likeness in music. Because in recent news, there was NBA YoungBoy and how he was on Instagram begging the record labels to just give him back his ownership, and they said, hell nah, nigga, we own you now. We ain't taking no money from you because you making us the bag. Because as you know, he's one of the top streamed artists on YouTube, so you know how much money he left on the table to sign a 5-year $2 million contract. Like, come on, man. And then there was Tory when he hopped on IG Live talking about, he's happy as hell he finally got off Interscope once he fulfilled his contract with Chicks Tape 5 to be released, and now he's independent. But we know how the story right now is going for him, so it's kind of tough out here. Damn, that shit tough. And then there's Megan Thee Stallion, how she was with that baseball player Carl Crawford and on his record label, and pretty much she got finessed with contracts, so she finally got off. Now she's with Rock Nation, which I don't see why, because you're just going from one person to the next in the same situation. Guaranteed they're making more money off of you. But hey, if she watched this video, she can learn something about it and how she could have structured the contract in a different way in her benefit. And now even too, if you follow me on Instagram, you'll notice that I post like a month ago, a couple record labels have pledged, like during the whole Black Lives Matter, that they were going to look into their contracts because they noticed that they were doing a little predatory contract negotiation with black artists and screwing them over in the long haul. So they're trying to amend some of the contracts because a lot of these artists who made them millions of dollars haven't even made a penny off of it. And even Krayshawn, she said she's $800,000 in debt to the record label. Damn, that's tough. So she was like, don't even play Gucci 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 Tamagotchi, that song from like 2011 or 12 or whatever. So yeah, a lot of artists can learn a lot from doing better business, because it's more than just music at this point. And some of you might say, this is pocket watching, looking at people contracts or blah blah blah. I'm like, bro, for one, Warner Music Group's on the stock market now, and I'm gonna be looking at my assets because I'm invested, so I want to see how they performing and what type of deal. So yeah, this ain't pocket watching, and a lot of you Forex people out here want to be bosses, so we got boss up, right? Yes sir. So let's get into it. So the first component of the contract is the copyright portion. So when you sign a contract, you got to give up your copyright and your pretty much ownership of your likeness in music. And this contract is normally for 50 years. Like, damn, like a half a century. You shitting me? Like, who's really gonna be listening to a lot of these fast food artists 50 years later? Most likely we all gonna be freaking robots by Elon Musk by the time this happens. And then two, like BET Awards, when they have their little throwback artists. Who wants to listen to a 60-year-old version of your favorite rapper singing about ass and pills? Like, come on, my guy. Like, chill out, sit down, take your pelvis pills, and stay off the Zans at that point. The next portion is the release commitment. And that's where if the label has to perform in good faith to release your music out, and if they void it, then you can actually get off the contract. But usually, these labels, they're going to be trying to milk as much out of you as quick as possible. And then there is a key man provision. And this is where if an A&R find you, like maybe off of TikTok or wherever, and if they leave the label, then you can execute it and terminate your contract with the current label and sign with another, which I advise, why would you do that? That's like going to one slave master to the next. But I believe you have to have your lawyer put these provisions in your contract. And we all know most rappers aren't going to be thinking that deep into it. And most times also, the label will give them one of their lawyers to represent them. And we can ask Amigos how that's going for them, because we see what's going on with QC and how they believe they got finessed by the lawyer and the record label. So when an artist say they signed a $2 million record deal, it's not really $2 million. It's other components within that deal. So now we're going to get into advances. So most likely they'll get $1 million advance, and then maybe a $500,000 recording budget for the albums, and then another $500,000 for marketing. And their advances for them to actually live off of until the next album cycle, hopefully in the next year, for them to put out music so they can get another check from the label. But with that $1 million, it ain't really $1 million, because that is gross. And there's an even grosser guy out here named Uncle Sam, because he's going to take half off the top in the tax bracket, like on some Grinch shit, with his hands, like, I'm going to take half of that. And then on top of it, you got to start paying even your manager, your lawyers, and everything else. But I'm going to let Russ from an IG video tell you how these contracts are actually broken down.
Let me break down for y'all how $1 million goes in the industry, right? So let's say a rapper signs to a label, gets $1 million, right? Okay. That $1 million, most of these rappers are paying their manager 20%. So 20% is $200K, right? Most of them are also paying the lawyer $5 and the business manager $5. So that's 10% for them and 20% for the manager. So it's 30% total commissions that has to come off the top. So of the $1 million, take off $300K, right? Because that's 30%. So you're at $700K. Of that $700K, you are now in the tax bracket that's taxed around like 48%. Let's just call it 50, right? Cut that in half. $350. So $1 million is $350K net. That's what you net. This is before you spend $1. The reason why motherfuckers go broke is because they get $1 million and think they have $1 million to spend. No, you don't. You got $1 million and you got $350 to spend. So you got $1 million and you went to go buy a $900,000 house, and now you're like, oh shit, well what the fuck? Now you're broke, living beyond your means, and you're no better off than you were when you were before the deal and before the $1 million.
And you see how stuff be getting crazy now with these deals, and that's why Master P is one of the best businessmen in music and even outside of it, because don't even quote me, but I remember him saying that the labels offer him a $1 million record contract. Then he thought to himself, like, yo, if they're giving me $1 million, they're thinking they can make double off of me, so he didn't even want to take the deal. And now to bring it current, how music labels aren't making as much money anymore. They're seeing a decline in the sector. They're trying to find other ways. So now they introduced a 360 deal, where anything you make money off of or touch, they're touching also, on some Grinch shit. Like, they're taking everything off the top and you gotta pay for all the expenses. So what's the point of getting into this type of deal? But some people might need it. At this point, you're pretty much married to the record labels with your contract and your likeness. Like, damn, that sucks for most of y'all. So now we're gonna go to the Spanish market, and we got these big name artists like Bad Bunny, Ozuna, Anuel, like Archangel, Mikey Towers, and they're killing it in the streaming game just as good as the American artists. And don't even get me started with these YouTube numbers, because it's pretty much like they got that mind control shit that Jimmy Neutron had in the movie with the parents, how whenever they put out a song on YouTube, everyone just starts streaming it, and a lot of them got billions of views on their videos. But in all honesty, what separates them from American artists is that they're either independent or in a distribution deal or a publishing deal, which prevents them from getting pimped out by the record label. So with the distribution deal, whatever distribution company that you sign with, most likely a record label, they're gonna be putting out your work into different channels such as like CDs, but who actually use those, like marketing, maybe YouTube, Instagram, other social media platforms to get your music out. And the best part is that they normally only take 15 to 20% of the project that you guys agreed on. And once that partnership ends, you actually retain ownership of your music besides that project, which they're gonna still only take that 15 to 20% for the entirety of it. So now you expanded your audience and pretty much can do whatever the hell you want and make 100% of the revenue that you get from all your other later works. Bro, you can't beat that. And artists like Bad Bunny and Anuel, they're with Remus Entertainment, and they are a multi-channel network, which is different. And now these are another way to keep your ownership and most of your money that you make from your music. So multi-channel networks are third-party service providers that affiliate with multi-YouTube channels to offer services that might include artist development, content programming, creator collaboration, digital rights management, monetization, and sales. And they'll push your video out on YouTube, and this is where you'll notice that like Anuel and Bad Bunny, they're always touching billions of views on their videos because of the MCNs and how they pretty much know how to game the algorithm to have your videos show up everywhere. And with streaming, with the multi-channel networks, they normally take between 20 to like 30% of your revenue. So that's a better deal than these record labels actually taking 80 to 90% of all your work. So you can't even beat that. And this isn't a 360 deal. So whatever you make outside of music, like guest performances, tours, commercials, you get to keep it too, so it's in your pocket. So that's a way better deal than what a lot of people are getting right now. So to wrap this video up, food for thought: these artists that are signed to these major labels, they only get 1 to 2 checks a year. And that's only if they make a profit. If they don't and they're in the hole, they're not getting dog shit. So it doesn't even sound as enticing to sign with the labels. Rather, you just do some of the hard work yourself or build a team around it and actually still get a better margin on your investment compared to just signing to a label. And 95% of artists do not generate royalty checks, according to a Berklee College of Music professor. And in a complex article, they found out that the average musician only makes $25,000 a year. And that's a contributing factor due to streaming, because per million you will probably get around $5,000 to $6,000 at best. And a lot of artists are not even hitting 10 million streams on a song to actually pay off their advance in their record contract from the labels. So you can see how a lot of these labels aren't really making money off of a lot of these acts. So it's like Drake, who's actually keeping the light on, and many of these other offices for these labels. I hope you enjoyed this video, and let me know in the comment section if you'd like me to make more videos on this subject with business and music. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram at LloydKnows_podcast to stay up to date with music news and recommendations. And make sure to like the video and hit the subscribe button to know when I upload content. Peace.